Hey guys, well, it's been a while. Been busy with work, busy with family, all that good stuff. This week's speed painting is going to be a little bit more involved, a little bit more informative. It's one of my favorite pieces that I've done. It's going to be for a show, or it's going to be a part of a show in Santa Ana next month. Not really sure on the dates, but if you guys follow my social media, you guys will be updated with all that. I'll show you guys the piece that I am working on this video. It's this one of Greedo from Star Wars. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And basically all done on the iPad, on my iPad, with the Procreate app and canvas printed. Well, check it out, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright guys, let's get started. I decided to go with 8.5 by 11 canvas size. Depending on the piece that I'm working on dictates my canvas size. In the end, it's all about what I'm going to do with the finished product, if I'm going to print it or not. With this one, I went ahead and I did all my sketching in Photoshop on my Surface Pro. Then I went ahead and imported it into Procreate. I find Procreate, for me, as far as ease of use, painting, digital painting and all that, it's just way more convenient. So I've been really digging that a lot more lately. After I imported my line work into Procreate, I cleaned it up a little bit. Not too much. I just did a little bit of cleaning up. I didn't try to go too tight with it. I kind of wanted that messy, kind of hand-drawn kind of a look, slightly. Then I went ahead and I started adding the background, which was behind all my line work. The background, I knew I wanted this like bright pink, purpley color. For the overall image, I wanted to go for a 80s hairband vibe. So I already knew I wanted that bright pink in the background. Then the way I set it up after that is I went ahead and I added another layer, which was in between my background and my line work, and I started adding my flats. Now keep in mind that my line work is set to multiply in the layer settings. I went ahead, I did all my flats. My flats tend to be a little bit more on the muted side. That's why they're looking right now a little bit on the dim, muted side. I also like them to be a slightly bit cooler. It was a piece of advice that I took from having a color theory class, that shadows tend to be a little bit more cooler, tend to be a little bit more muted, and then highlights tend to be a little bit more warmer and a little bit more saturated. So here I'm just basically laying in all my flats, some of the gradients on his face, some of the gradients on the top of his head, on his hands, laying that in right now. I do all that. I keep in mind what the image is going to look like in the end. I also start to add a little bit of shadowing underneath his vest, underneath his legs, a little bit on his neck, just to make it pop a little bit. Okay, once I finished with my flats, I go ahead and create another layer above my line work. For some reason, it's just a personal preference that I like to do all my highlights above my line work. Some people like to do all their stuff under their line work. For me, my highlights tend to be always above my line work. Also, when I do my first set of highlights, it's basically just to get like the form, the form of his head, make it pop, basically just make everything come to life. Later on, you'll see that here and there, I'll go and add extra highlights to kind of give it either a shine, make it even pop even more, and those will typically be done on another separate layer above everything else. But that always changes. That's not a thing that I do for every single piece. It just depends. Here you can see that his eyes are still not so glossy, and later on I will go and add a little bit more of a pop to his eyes. This next step, I felt like the line work wasn't popping, a little bit undefined, so I went in on a separate layer above my line work, and I got a little bit of a darker color, and I added a little bit more sharper lines where I wanted them to be. So I did that like around his face, parts where I wanted a little bit more of separation. Then I went ahead and above my line work, above my highlights, I went ahead and I gave it some rim light. Some of that pink light that's coming from behind him, that I would say maybe like a second light source. So I went ahead and I just got this bright pink color. I color picked it, got my pencil brush, and basically outlined every little section that I thought that rim light, that second light source would be hitting, which would be his back, the back of his ears, the back of his head, back of his arm and shoulders, anywhere where I thought that light was gonna hit. Okay, then I went ahead and I started trying to map out the way I wanted the clouds to look, the composition of the clouds. The clouds are basically done in 3 parts. It's the foreground that's closest to you, the middle where you would see like the shadowing of his feet in the mist, shadow on the clouds, the mist, and that was actually done behind him on another layer. And then behind that is a 3rd layer that gives like that, almost like he's sandwiched in this mist. I went ahead and did that, got it all laid out with a airbrush. Then I went and got another brush, like a splattery, inky, I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's a splattery brush. And I went on the different layer, kind of added these little splattery kind of effects. It's basically, I just wanted to muddy it up. I wanted it to kind of give it a little more gritty, almost like just to add some texture to the whole image. Okay, then here you'll see me dropping in the font. This font was all created in Photoshop. I just basically chose a font I thought suited the image. I didn't distort it or anything. I think I just had it as plain white. I emailed it to myself, opened it in Procreate, and dropped it in. Once I dropped it in, I distorted it. I transformed it, used the transform tool. I kind of wanted the feel that it was kind of slightly coming towards you. Once that was set, I liked the way it looked. I set the layer setting to add. I also then duplicated it, and I set it to add again, and I blurred it to kind of give it a glow, this neon, almost like a neon light glow. Above that, I went and did more of a splattered effect, and I set that to multiply so it would grab some of the color from underneath. And that's pretty much it. It was a very fun piece to do. I have a few more that I'm working on, and I will most likely be posting them on here. So anyways, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, it was going to be a little more informative. Hope you guys like it. I love sharing my my knowledge, whatever I know. Don't know everything, but if any of you guys ever need any advice, you guys could always contact me. The videos that I'll be doing from now on will most likely be like this, where I'm explaining more of the process, letting you guys know how I get to the end result. Follow me on all my social media. It'll be linked down below. Don't forget to always let me know what you guys think about these videos. If there's anything I could improve on, you guys let me know. All right, bye.